Florida State versus Sarah Boone, the accused Suitcase murderer. Her defense lawyer has asked for an extension because they couldn't find an expert witness. So in this video, we're going to talk about what happens in the UK. And if you hear a furry friend snoring, it's because I've got my buddy with me. So let's get started. So if you're not familiar with this case, I've done a few videos, which you can see up there. And let's get a brief overview from Fox 35. Shall we watch that?
Zipped into a suitcase and left to die. Investigators say a woman abandoned her boyfriend like lost luggage, laughing as he begged for his life, pleading for help until his last breath. Then detectives say she tried to cover it up, blaming a game of hide and seek gone wrong.
So in this first screenshot that you can see on the screen, the defendant actually wrote to the court because she was having a hard time getting a hold of her defense solicitor. So the first pretrial hearing got extended because they wanted to get a witness, an expert witness, and now they're trying to say that they can't find an expert that will work for the JAC rates. So let's hear what the judge wanted to know.
How deeply have you plumbed the depths of the pool of experts in this field to find out or find one who's willing to work for the JAC rate?
Well, I've actually talked to three, and they don't have contracts with JAC and are not willing to work with JAC. And I've made some other inroads with battered woman shelters, trying to get their psychologists, who'd be willing. Problem is willing to testify, basically.
Okay. Because of the concern about the compensation rate for testimony?
Well, that's one of the things. And to be honest with you, this case has had so much notoriety that people don't want to be involved.
Okay.
So firstly, in the UK, a defendant who has been approved for legal aid is different to having a duty solicitor. And you can watch my video on tips if you've ever been arrested. And you can find that video in my playlist, Criminal Offences or Breaking the Law Matters. This would happen in the UK as well. You have to get permission from the judge to be able to bring in an expert witness. And I'll tell you a little bit more about why that is a bit later on. So after the lawyer for Sarah Boone asked for a continuance so that they could actually find somebody, the judge will always ask the prosecutor what they think. So let's hear what he had to say.
Potentially Mr. Ofori as well. If I could ask of the defense, because I think it would make a difference in the timing of the continuance in this case, does the defense intend to hire an expert to testify generally as to the precepts and the things that go along with battered spouse syndrome, or do they intend to hire an expert that will evaluate Mrs. Boone and want to comment on her directly? And the reason I ask that is because I think the case law is clear that if it's the latter thing, then the state is entitled to have her sit down with our own expert to be evaluated as well. So that would obviously take more time if that is going to be the path they're going to go.
In that clip, we see the state was asking what the expert was for. Would they be a factual witness, such as a medical doctor to give records, or would the expert be, for example, a psychologist or a psychiatrist evaluating and giving an opinion? And in the UK, if it is for an evaluation and an opinion, then the judge would normally want to know the probative value and reliability, circling back to why we need the court's permission in the first place. In the UK, expert rates are limited as well. And the court has to balance the importance of the evidence, what type it is, will it help the jury to understand a complicated subject. But the danger is if the jury, if let's say the subject is so complicated that the jury just believes the expert, and they may defer to the expert's opinion just because the topic is so complicated they can't make up their own minds, and that's a bit of a problem. And the reason it could be a problem is because the expert gives their opinions based on their analysis of the evidence. However, the bench or jury is not bound by the expert's opinion when deciding the verdict. So experts in the UK are given a rate as well, and the court has to approve their fees. You can see it on the screen. What you have to be mindful of is if you are on a legal aid certificate and you're found guilty, then you will have to pay some or all of that money back depending on your income. The court allowed the defense an extension to be able to find an expert, and then the next pretrial hearing will be on the 11th of July. And then the court said they really do want to start the hearing by the 24th of July. So we'll see what happens with this case. It should be rather interesting. I would also like to add at this point that if you or someone you know is a victim of domestic abuse or violence, whether you be a man, a woman, or a child, then check out our playlist. We have lots of valuable information that can help you with that. Well, I hope you liked today's video. Please give it a thumbs up and like and share. And don't forget to subscribe, because soon I'll be able to go live and we'll be able to do an interaction, talking to each other, asking questions, and that should be really fun. So thank you and see you soon. Say hi to the viewers. You were such a good girl.